Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Diablo 4 video. Now I'm sure most of you guys that pre-ordered the Deluxe Edition or the Ultimate Edition are already well aware that you can go ahead and pre-download the game as of right now, and then early access for Diablo 4 will be starting tomorrow. And with that comes the Day 1 patch update, and in today's video I'm going to be going over some of the patch notes and changes you can expect to see in the Day 1 update. Now, there are no official patch notes that have been posted, but over at Wowhead, they posted the unofficial patch notes where they went ahead and data mined the update, and they listed all of the changes that took place after they downloaded the update. So it's nothing too crazy, but if you played the betas, then there are a number of different changes coming to the game that they're making based on the feedback they saw from the betas. So jumping right into it, the first change comes to the general legendary aspects. The accelerating aspect, critical strikes with core skills increases your attack speed by 15 to 25%, or 3, which is crossed out to 5 seconds. So it's getting a little bit of a buff from 3 to 5, so that's 2 extra seconds where you have your attack speed increased. Then for the Barbarian class, the Barbarian legendary aspects, the aspect of Ancestral Echoes, Lucky Hit while Call of the Ancients is in your action bar. Damaging enemies with Leap, Upheaval, or Whirlwind have up to a 40 to 50% chance to summon an agent to perform the same skill. And it's crossed out here saying that it can only happen every 5 seconds, so the chance to summon an agent to help you perform some of your skills is going to happen a little bit more often. So next up, for the Druid, we have Druid skills and talents. We have Cataclysm. Lucky Hit chance is going from 62% to 72%, so we're seeing a little bit of a buff there. A Massive Storm follows you for 8 to now 10 seconds, so it's getting a 2-second buff. Twisters knock back enemies, and Lightning Strikes wildly dealing 52% damage. So the Cataclysm skill is getting a little bit of a buff. Then we have Petrify, encase all nearby enemies in stone, stunning them for 3 to now 3.75 seconds. You deal times 25% increased critical strike damage to enemies affected by Petrify. So Petrify is now going to stun enemies for close to an entire second longer. And it says against bosses, the critical strike damage bonus is increased to times 50, and its duration is increased from 6 to 7.5 seconds. So it's getting a buff against bosses as well, so that's pretty cool. Then for the Grisly Rage, shapeshift into a dire werebear for 10 to now 12 seconds, and gaining a times 20% bonus damage and 20% damage reduction. Damage bonus is increased by 3% for each second while in this form. So the Grisly Rage is going to be a little bit more powerful. And then it says kills extend the duration by 1 second up to 10 additional seconds. So it sounds like the Grisly Rage is getting quite the buff there. Those 2 extra seconds might not sound like much, but 2 extra seconds can make the world of difference. Then for the Lacerate skill, shapeshift into a werewolf, become immune, and quickly dash 10 to now 12 times between enemies in an area, dealing up to 500% damage. So it's getting a buff from 10 dashes to 12 dashes, and going from 400% to 500% damage. So overall, the Druid is getting quite a buff to 4 of its abilities. I think they listened to the player feedback and they saw a lot of people weren't very happy with the Druid early on in the game. The developers have said that the Druid is still very powerful late game, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see just how powerful the Druid can get late game now that they're buffing all of these skills. Then for the Rogue, there's only one change for the Rogue. They're changing the dash skill, dash forward, and smash enemies for 32 to now 36% damage. Then for the Necromancer, the Golem is getting some changes. The passive ability, you are protected by a Golem with X life that attacks for 17 to now 21% damage. The Golem used to shed corpses as it takes damage, but now it absorbs 15% of damage you would take and recovers life when attacking. So that's definitely going to come in handy at keeping your Necromancer alive. Then the active ability for the Golem, it says your Golem becomes unstoppable, and it used to taunt nearby enemies and took 30% reduced damage for the next 6 seconds. That is getting changed, and now it drains the blood of enemies in an area, dealing 40% damage and healing 4% of its life for each enemy drained. Damage and healing received are tripled if only one enemy is drained. When your Golem dies, it respawns after 20 seconds. So they're completely changing the way that the Golem works here. I like the sound of this. It sounds to me like it's getting a bit of a buff here, but the fact that it can take 15% damage for you and it deals 40% damage and heals itself for each enemy drained, I feel like that's definitely going to come in handy. And then for the elixirs, they made a couple changes to some of the elixirs in the game. It looks like a lot of them are getting nerfed. We have the weak precision elixir. It says increases critical strike chance by 4% to now 2%, and critical strike damage by 25% to now 15%. Then the regular precision elixir is going from 6% to 3% and 25 to 20. The strong elixir is going from 8 to 4. Then the critical strike damage is going to be 25. The potent precision elixir, the critical strike chance is going from 10 to 5, so that's a bit of a nerf. And then the critical strike damage is going from 25 up to 30. So they're actually buffing the critical strike damage up 5% for the potent precision elixir. Then for the heady precision elixir, they decreased the critical strike chance from 12 to 6, and then the critical strike damage from 25 buffed up to 35. Then the weak third eye elixir increases dodge by 5% to now 4%. The third eye elixir is going from 7 to 6. The strong is going from 10 to 7. The potent is going from 13 to 8. And the heady third eye elixir is going from 16 to 10. So on paper, it looks like most of these elixirs are getting a pretty big nerf, but I guess we're just going to have to wait and see when we get our hands on the game. And if the community doesn't like this change and the developers feel like they over-nerfed these elixirs, they can always just revert these elixirs back to normal or buff them again later in the future. So that is going to do it for everything in the unofficial patch notes. This is everything that was data mined in the latest patch. This is the day 1 patch update. So all these changes are going to be taking place as soon as you get your hands on the game. As soon as you start playing, all these changes are going to be active. And that is going to do it for this quick update video, guys. Let me know what you all think down in the comment section down below. I have a ton of Diablo 4 videos coming in the future, so if you don't want to miss out on anything Diablo 4, then hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. And that is going to do it for me, guys, and I will talk to you all in the next video.